The ukulele, sometimes abbreviated to uk, is a member of the guitar family of instruments. It generally employs 4 nylon or gut strings or 4 courses of strings. The ukulele originated in the 19th century as a Hawaiian interpretation of the machete, a small guitar-like instrument related to the cavaquinho, timple, braguinha and the rajão, taken to Hawaii by Portuguese immigrants, many from the Macaronesian Islands. It gained great popularity elsewhere in the United States during the early 20th century, and from there spread internationally. The tone and volume of the instrument varies with size and construction. Ukuleles commonly come in 4 sizes: soprano, concert, tenor, and baritone. History: Hawaii. The ukulele is commonly associated with music from Hawaii, where the name roughly translates as jumping flea, perhaps because of the movement of the player's fingers. Legend attributes it to the nickname of the Englishman Edward William Purvis, one of King Kalakaua's officers, because of his small size, fidgety manner, and playing expertise. According to Queen Liliuokalani, the last Hawaiian monarch, the name means a Euro-oeth gift that came here, a euro from the Hawaiian words uku and lele. Developed in the 1880s, the ukulele is based on several small guitar-like instruments of Portuguese origin, the machete, the cavaquinho and the rajão, introduced to the Hawaiian Islands by Portuguese immigrants from Madeira and Cape Verde. 3 immigrants in particular, Madeiran cabinet makers Manuel Nunes, José Copyright do Espírito Santo, and Augusto Dias, are generally credited as the first ukulele makers. 2 weeks after they disembarked from the SS Ravenscrag in late August 1879, the Hawaiian Gazette reported that Madeira Islanders recently arrived here, have been delighting the people with nightly street concerts. One of the most important factors in establishing the ukulele in Hawaiian music and culture was the ardent support and promotion of the instrument by King Kalakaua. A patron of the arts, he incorporated it into performances at royal gatherings. Canada. In the 1960s, educator J. Chalmers Doane dramatically changed school music programs across Canada, using the ukulele as an inexpensive and practical teaching instrument to foster musical literacy in the classroom. 50,000 schoolchildren and adults learned ukulele through the Doane program at its peak. Today, a revised program created by James Hill and J. Chalmers Doane continues to be a staple of the music education in Canada. Japan. The ukulele came to Japan in 1929 after Hawaiian-born Yukihiko Haida returned to the country upon his father's death and introduced the instrument. Haida and his brother Katsuhiko formed the Mona Glee Club, enjoying rapid success in an environment of growing enthusiasm for Western popular music, particularly Hawaiian and jazz. During World War II, authorities banned most Western music, but fans and players kept it alive in secret, and it resumed popularity after the war. In 1959, Haida founded the Nippon Ukulele Association. Today, Japan is considered a second home for Hawaiian musicians and ukulele virtuosos. United Kingdom. The singer and comedian George Formby was perhaps the UK's most famous ukulele player, though he often played a banjolele, a hybrid instrument consisting of an extended ukulele neck with a banjo resonator body. Demand surged in the new century because of its relative simplicity and portability. Today the ukulele's popularity in Great Britain continues to grow, with the Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain touring globally and Paul McCartney's 2002 tribute tour to George Harrison, a huge fan of the instrument. Ukulele is often spelled ukulele in British English. United States. Pre-Euro World War II. The ukulele was popularized for a stateside audience during the Panama Pacific International Exposition, held from spring to fall of 1915 in San Francisco. The Hawaiian Pavilion featured a guitar and ukulele ensemble, George E.K. and his Royal Hawaiian Quartet, along with ukulele maker and player Jonah Kumalei. The popularity of the ensemble with visitors launched a fad for Hawaiian-themed songs among Tin Pan Alley's songwriters. The ensemble also introduced both the lap steel guitar and the ukulele into U.S. mainland popular music, where it was taken up by vaudeville performers such as Roy Smeck and Cliff Ukulele Edwards. On April 15, 1923 at the Rivoli Theatre in New York City, Smek appeared, playing the ukulele, in Stringed Harmony, a short film made in the DeForest Phono-Film sound-on-film process. On August 6, 1926, Smek appeared playing the ukulele in a short film His Pastimes, made in the Vitaphone sound-on-disc process, shown with the feature film Don Juan starring John Barrymore. The ukulele soon became an icon of the jazz age. Highly portable and relatively inexpensive, it also proved popular with amateur players throughout the 1920s, as is evidenced by the introduction of chord tablature into the published sheet music for popular songs of the time, a role that would eventually be supplanted by the guitar in the early years of rock and roll. A number of mainland-based instrument manufacturers, among them Regal, Harmony, and Martin, added ukulele, banjolele, and timple lines to their production to take advantage of the demand. The ukulele also made inroads into early country music or old-time music. It was played by Jimmie Rodgers and Ernest V. Stoneman, as well as by early string bands, including Cowan Powers and his family band, DaCosta Walder's Southern Broadcasters, Walter Smith and Friends, the Blankenship Family, the Hillbillies, and the Hilltop Singers. Post-World War II. From the late 1940s to the late 1960s, plastics manufacturer Mario McAlferry turned out about 9 million inexpensive ukuleles. The ukulele continued to be popular, appearing on many jazz songs throughout the 1950s, 1960s, and 1970s. Much of the instrument's popularity was cultivated via the Arthur Godfrey Show on television. Singer-musician Tiny Tim became closely associated with the instrument after playing it on his 1968 hit Tiptoe Through the Tulips. Post-1990 revival. After the 1960s, the ukulele declined in popularity until the late 1990s, when interest in the instrument reappeared. During the 1990s, new manufacturers began producing ukuleles and a new generation of musicians took up the instrument. Jim Beloff set out to promote the instrument in the early 1990s and created over 24 ukulele music books featuring modern music as well as classic ukulele pieces. Hawaiian musician Israel Kamakawiwo helped repopularize the instrument, in particular with his 1993 medley of Over the Rainbow, and What a Wonderful World, used in films, television programs, and commercials. The song reached number 12 on Billboard's Hot Digital Tracks chart the week of January 31, 2004. The creation of YouTube was a large influence on the popularity of the ukulele. One of the first videos to go viral was Jake Shimabukuro's ukulele rendition of George Harrison's While My Guitar Gently Weeps on YouTube. The video quickly went viral, and has received over 12 million views and launched Jake's career. The ready availability of thousands of instructional videos has greatly expanded the popularity of this easy-to-learn instrument. Types. Construction. Ukuleles are generally made of wood, though variants have been composed partially or entirely of plastic or other materials. Cheaper ukuleles are generally made from ply or laminate woods, in some cases with a soundboard of an acoustically superior wood such as spruce. Such instruments typically cost from $50 to $100. More expensive ukuleles are made of solid hardwood such as mahogany. Some of the most expensive ukuleles, which may cost thousands of dollars, are made from koa, a Hawaiian wood. Typically ukuleles have a figure-8 body shape similar to that of a small acoustic guitar. They are also often seen in non-standard shapes, such as cutaway shape and an oval, usually called a pineapple ukulele, invented by the Kamaka Ukulele Company, or a boat paddle shape, and occasionally a square shape, often made out of an old wooden cigar box. These instruments may have just 4 strings. Or some strings may be paired in courses, giving the instrument a total of 6 or 8 strings. The strings themselves were originally made of catgut. Modern ukuleles use nylon polymer strings, with many variations in the material. Some of the lower strings, particularly on the larger sizes, are wound with aluminum. Instruments with 6 or 8 strings and 4 courses are often called tarapatches, or tarapatch ukuleles. They were once common in a concert size, but now the tenor size is more common for 6-string tarapatch ukuleles. The 6-string, 4-course version, has 2 single and 2 double courses, and is sometimes called ʻukulele, though this name also applies to the 8-string version. Sizes. Common types of ukuleles include soprano, concert, tenor, baritone. Less common are the soprano and bass ukulele. The soprano, often called standard in Hawaii, is the second smallest and was the original size. The concert size was developed in the 1920s as an enhanced soprano, slightly larger and louder with a deeper tone. Shortly thereafter, the tenor was created, having more volume and deeper bass tone. The baritone was created in the 1940s, and the bass is a very recent innovation. Size and popular tunings of standard ukulele types. Range of notes of standard ukulele types. Notes that range varies with the tuning and size of the instruments. The examples shown in the chart are, soprano ukulele with 10 frets, tuned to D-G-B-E, soprano ukulele with 12 frets, tuned to A-D-F-B, concert ukulele with 14 frets, tuned to G-C-E-A, tenor ukulele with 16 frets, tuned to G-C-E-A, baritone ukulele with 18 frets, tuned to D-G-B-E, and bass ukulele with 16 frets, tuned to E-A-D-G. Tuning. The most popular tuning found on the Internet for the standard or soprano ukulele is C6 tuning, G4 C4 E4 A4. The G string is tuned an octave higher than might be expected. This is known as re-entrant tuning, something believed to originated in the rajão, the Portuguese 5-string instrument that had D-G-C-E-A, with the D and G being high. Some players prefer low G tuning, with the G in sequence an octave lower. The baritone is usually tuned to D3 G3 B3 E4, which is the same as the highest 4 strings of the standard 6-string guitar. Another common tuning for the soprano ukulele is D tuning, A4 D4 F number 4 B4, one step higher than the G4 C4 E4 A4 tuning. D tuning is said by some to bring out a sweeter tone in some ukuleles, generally smaller ones. This tuning was commonly used during the Hawaiian music boom of the early 20th century, is often seen in sheet music from this period, as well as in many method books through the 1980s. D tuning with a low fourth, A3 D4 F number 4 B4 is sometimes called Canadian tuning after its use in the Canadian school system, mostly on concert or tenor ukuleles, and extensive use by James Hill and J. Chalmers Doane. Whether C6 or D6 tuning should be the standard tuning is a matter of long and ongoing debate. There are historic and popular ukulele methods that have used each. The higher-pitched instruments most often employ re-entrant tuning, while the lower-pitched instruments usually employ linear tuning, where the strings are tuned from low to high pitch across the instrument. Hawaiian ukuleles may also be tuned to open tunings, similar to the Hawaiian slack key style. Related instruments. Ukulele varieties include hybrid instruments such as the ʻukulele, banjo ukulele, harp ukulele, and lap steel ukulele. There is an electrically amplified version, the electric ukulele. The resonator ukulele produces sound by one or more spun aluminum cones instead of the wooden soundboard, giving it a distinct and louder tone. The Tahitian ukulele, another variant, is usually carved from a single piece of wood, and does not have a hollow soundbox. Close cousins of the ukulele include the Portuguese forerunners, the cavaquinho and the slightly larger rajão. Other string variants include, the Venezuelan cuatro, the Colombian timple, the timple of the Canary Islands, the Spanish vihuela, the Mexican requinto jaraco, and the Andean charango, traditionally made of an armadillo shell. In Indonesia, a similar Portuguese-inspired instrument is the kronsel. Audio samples, see also, List of ukulele musicians, stringed instrument tunings, notes. References, Bealoff, Jim, 1997. The Ukulele, A Visual History. San Francisco, Backbeat Books. ISBN A0-87930-758-7, King, John. The Ukulele, A History. Honolulu, Hawaii, University of Hawaii Press. ISBN A978-0-8248-3634-4. External links. King's Ukulele brand name database information on over 600 ukulele makers past and present, the Ukulele and You, an exhibition curated by the Museum of Making Music, Carlsbad, California that details the ukulele's history and waves of mainstream popularity.